Okay, Eddie Hearn. Eddie, what would you like to see from Terramoana Teremoana this week? What are you hoping to see from him?
Well, I'm hoping to see some rounds, but I just don't know. I mean, this guy it's a big step up for Terramoana, and this guy is supposed to be durable. I mean, I've seen him against good heavyweights doing 10 rounds. I just the problem is this guy hits very, very hard, Terramoana, and he doesn't come out to pace himself in the fight. He comes out to destroy, and if he hurts you, as I was saying to the guys here, it's like almost like AJ in the early parts of his career. If he stings you and hurts you and sees it, he's going to jump all over you, and
Mm.
he's going to do his very best to get you out of there. And Savage is going to have to be cute, smart, durable to do the rounds. But they fancy it. I mean, Tony Harrison was brilliant up there, and he's a great mind, very, very smart. But he can't fight for him. But he can navigate somewhat through the fight. But it's very difficult to do against such a huge puncher.
Yeah, there are those comments getting around, Eddie, that Terramoana needs to, I guess, step up the level of competition. Do you hear those comments, and are you hoping this is the guy who will
Yeah,
test
I
him?
mean, I think we know how to bring fighters through, and you know, I think that because of the hype around fighters, the automatic response is, well, come on then, let's see him fight this guy and see that, and you have to give someone a chance to progress. This guy is definitely the best opponent of his career so far. Last time out in Melbourne when he fought, obviously we I got to be honest with you, like it's really, really difficult to match him against Australian opposition. Really difficult. I mean, we've been trying, we've been throwing money at these guys, and they just don't want to fight him. Whether that's politics, whether that's fear, whether that's maybe there's an easier option. So, you bring over international opponents. And like I said, this guy done a good 10 rounds with Brandon Moore, who's a good heavyweight. He's got good movement. He's 300 pounds. I'm hoping he's the guy that can give us some rounds, but I'm honestly not so sure. And it's nothing to do with Savage's ability. It's just down to the size, the speed, and the spitefulness of Terramoana.
Now, mate, this signing of Michael Zerafa, it's raised a few eyebrows or got some comments from everyone in Australian boxing. What do you see in Michael, and what are you hoping for him long term?
Well, I've known Michael a long time. I mean, we had him over in Sheffield when he fought Kell Brook. And, you know, I know that night, because I saw it from about 6 feet away, he showed a massive set of nuts, and he was really, 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 brave in that fight. He kept trying to win the fight throughout. Obviously, after the Tszyu defeat, he had bundles and bundles of criticism. Um, I've never really seen him in a fight look for a way out. So I believe him that he didn't look for a way out. But I also said to him about 5 minutes ago, that's over. That's history. The reality is, it is what it is. People are going to have opinions on you. Most people want to see you get knocked out. But there are people that like you and want to see you win. But I don't care as long as they've got an opinion on you. And I know that all these people are calling him out. I mean, Chris Eubank Jr., Tony Harrison. You can get fights against Adames, Lara, all these guys for the world title. And actually, I'm very surprised by his pick on Wednesday. This is his pick, not my pick. Because when I signed him, I said, listen, we'll give you an easy one first, and then we'll be in a big fight. And they said, we don't want an easy one because we feel like we're going to get criticism. So I said, okay. So they actually sent us this guy. Now, I'm not saying he's a world beater, but he's very heavy-handed. He's got 25 knockouts in 26 wins. So they wanted to make a bit of a statement on Wednesday. And I actually think it's a bit of a banana skin, this fight, especially because he's still fighting with, I think, with that in the back of his mind. You've got to stop worrying about what people think about you and just go and do your thing. And, with his profile, I think he can bring big fights to Australia. So it's a big moment for him on Wednesday. And there'll be a lot of people tuned in, like I said, to hope he gets beat. And there'll be a lot tuning in to support him, but they'll be tuning in. And that's part of the game.
Yeah. Do you still think he's got some, I guess, some head noises about what happened there in January? Did you pick?
Probably. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think that you can say you don't care what people think, but I don't think people want to be disliked. He said in the presser up here earlier, I know that, I guess I'm the bad boy of Australian boxing. I'm not sure he necessarily wants to be the bad boy of Australian boxing, but he is. So fucking roll with it. Do you know what I mean? And like, let's use it to your advantage. So I think, oh, is that you, Chrissy? Yeah, yeah. So I think, like I said, bit of a banana skin on Wednesday, but if he gets through and he looks good, there's a lot of fights that we can bring to Australia.
Mm. Tony Harrison, Chris Eubank, are they?
Yeah, I mean, look, Eubank would be an amazing catch for Australia. Like he's just coming off the back of two 70,000 sellout stadium fights. Him and Zerafa would go at it brilliantly in the build-up. Like, Eubank's got a lot to prove at the minute. You could argue it was a 50-50 fight. So, but there are also guys like Lara. I know he boxed Lara already, but Adames, like, these guys are looking for fights. So when you bring someone over the other side of the world, you've got a great chance to beat them. But there's plenty of fights out there. I mean, I've got to be honest with you. After the first Nikita Tszyu fight, I spoke to Matt Rose after that fight. I said, wow, the rematch is huge. And he's like, nah, we'll never work with him again, blah, 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 blah. I said, oh, okay, well, if that was me, I would have made the rematch straight away. Because trust me, it's huge. Like the controversy, the questions, the build-up. So, I think that fight's always going to be there as well. But that's not a fight that Michael's necessarily looking at. But I think he's got some big, big fights in him, but he's got to win on Wednesday.
Yeah. Mate, Justice Huni, are you still got that one fight thing left on the deal there?
So yeah, two fights left. And the first one, we hope to be in a position to maybe even announce at the show. We're going to go in September and we're going to go in Queensland. And we'd like to fight Hemir Hio, to be honest with you. I think that's he looked good the other night. I think that's a really good fight. I'll be catching up with Mick Francis tomorrow. And it's what we want to do, be in a big fight and then possibly even look to get him on the Anthony Joshua, Tyson Fury card as well. I think that'd be a great spot for him. But, I think Justice coming off that good win against Fraser Clark, ready to bring him home. And we look to do that in September and hope to be in a position to announce that this week.
Mate, Jai McAllister, what do you made of this lawsuit with the IBF and also his fight against Noel McCallion coming up as well?
Yeah, I was disappointed with his stuff on the. I feel like he was used a little bit as a scapegoat there, and I guess they're backing his costs on the legal case. But like, to be honest with you, it's kind of like Zuffa's fight, not really Jai's fight, and because he was told stuff that didn't happen. And, we wrote to his lawyer and I said that, you need to remove me from that circle of accusations because one, got nothing to do with it. I couldn't care less. And two, it's defamation. So, we're going through that process with him at the moment because I won't have those accusations fly around. I like Jai. I've got no interest in seeing him lose a belt or working in collusion with governing bodies. It's bullshit. But the reality is, what he was promised, I think Jai's been lied to. That's what I think. I think Jai's dream was to become unified and undisputed. And that's been taken away from him. Not by the IBF. That's been taken away from him by signing with Zuffa. And now the Michelanian stuff's really interesting because Don King, who's Michelanian's promoter, has not agreed to that fight. And when you sign a contract without Don King approving it, you got big, big trouble. It's either going to cost you a load of money or it's just not going to happen. So I don't know how that's going to play out, but I think it's unlikely for that fight to be for the WBC because obviously Michelanian was ordered to fight Benavidez and went the other way. So I'll be honest with you, it's a right mess. But Jai will be getting paid. And, Mick did a great job for Jai, keeping him active in Australia, but keeping him active without really receiving big money because there's just not the money here for those fights. So it's kind of, he's substituted the legacy for the money, which, you got to make money. So But I think it's a shame because I think Jai is a brilliant, brilliant fighter. And I know what the belt's meant to him. And I know what unifying the division meant to him and being undisputed. So I'm not sure how that's going to play out.
Is there a chance that that fight could get scrapped if Don King steps in? Like, how would you see it?
I think, again, I don't, it seems like I'll make a comment and everyone's like, oh, Eddie Hearn's trying to. If you want my honest opinion, if Don King wasn't involved in that deal, which I don't think he was, I think it's unlikely that it'll happen. Or the deal's going to change significantly for it to happen because Don King will be going for the jugular. I've been there before. I've signed fights with fighters who have told me and have confirmed that they're not in any promotional contract. And then just before the fight, Don King pops up. Oh, by the way, I've got that guy on the contract. Oh, fucking hell. All right, Don, what do you want? Nothing. It's not happening. And I've had that happen. And then I've had the other side happen where he's wanted money. So it depends how he's feeling. I mean, he's about 95 years old. So, like, who knows?
Mate, one of the last ones for you. Errol Spence, Tim Tszyu. You see the fight.
Yeah,
what did you make the fight? And
yeah,
where does Tim Tszyu go from here?
I mean, I don't want to take away from Tim's win because I liked him. I think he's a great fighter. But it was quite sad watching Errol Spence in that fight, to be honest with you. Having promoted him in his prime in the Kell Brook fight, like how good he was. And by the way, props to him because he never stopped trying. Like he showed great heart, but he was a shell of himself. And I think he has been for years, to be honest with you. But it was still a good win from Tim. And Tim's career was sort of kind of on the line, to be honest with you. And I think Tim should move and stay at middleweight. I think he's a really big, strong guy. I think he can punch. I think he's tough. And I think he can be in some great fights at middleweight. And if you look at the division, there's some good opportunities there to get a title shot. So, yes, it was he's been through it. He's never taken the easy route, has he? Fundora, Murtalayev, all these guys. So I was pleased to see him get the win. I think there's some big fights in him.
Last one for you, mate. What can we expect Wednesday night?
I think a great card. I hope that Savage is going to do what he says he's going to do. I mean, Tony just come up to me, Harrison, and said, when we win, we want to be upgraded to business class on the way home for both of us. I said, all right, deal. So they fancy it. But I think you're going to see the development of the next heavyweight world champion in Terramana. I really do. I think you're going to see a war with Zerafa against Ortiz. And I think you're going to see a war as well with Jazzy Parr against Pert. I think that's a great fight between those two. Jack Bowen's going really, really well. Good night of boxing. Great night of Wednesday night boxing. More importantly, off pay-per-view. And I think that's really important to make sure that we're giving these fights to the fight fans as part of the subscription and offering rather than getting people to pay more money to watch a guy that we need to build in Teremoana.
All right, mate. Always appreciate your time.
Cheers, Jay. Good to speak to you, mate.
Catch up soon.
Take care, mate. Bye-bye.